Wigwam in Harrison, Maine, a group of boys sat around the fire singing Dear Old Wigwam, a scene that has surely been repeated many times since. However, Dear Old Wigwam, a song I suspect very few of you have heard, was the first work of a young composer who was to grow up and revolutionize the American musical comedy theater. His first professional score was for a musical in 1920 called Poor Little Ritz Girl. The lyricist with whom he was to collaborate for over 20 years was Lorenz Hart. Our composer, you will have guessed, was Richard Rodgers. 1925 saw the opening of the GARRICK GAIETIES with a song we're all still humming. The Bronx and Staten Island too. It's lovely going through. Oh, soon. The great big city's a wondrous toy.
Just made for a girl and boy.
We'll turn Manhattan into an isle of joy. The 20s roared on, and the Girlfriend in 1926 brought us Blue Room. In November of 1927, a Connecticut Yankee opened to rave reviews, and theatergoers were humming the delicious My Heart Stood Still. I took one look at you, that's all I meant to do, and then my heart stood still. Though not a single word was spoken, I could tell you knew that unfelt clasp of hands told me so well you knew. Never writers to lounge about. Rodgers and Hart filled 1928 with She's My Baby, Chi-Chi, and Present Arms.
'Cause you took advantage of me.
And 1931 with
I've got $5, I'm in good condition, and I've got ambition that belongs to you.
10 projects helped the Depression years pass. Among them, Simple Simon and Evergreen. And then suddenly there was 1935 and Jumbo.
The most beautiful girl in the world isn't Garbo, isn't Dietrich, but that sweet trick who can make me believe it's a beautiful world. Social, not a bit, natural kind of wit. She'd shine anywhere, and she hasn't got platinum hair. The most beautiful house in the world has a mortgage. What do I care? It's goodbye care. When my slippers are next to the ones that belong to the one and only beautiful girl in the world.
Can you believe that it was 36 years ago when On Your Toes opened at the Imperial Theatre and we all first heard There's a small hotel with a wishing well. I wish that we were there together.
Looking through the window, you can see a distant steeple.
Not a sign of people
Who wants
people. We hardly had time to catch our breath before it was 1937 and Babes in Arms with Where or When.
It seems we stood and talked like this before. We looked at each other in the same way then, but I can't remember where or when. saw the clothes you wore, the smile you were smiling then, but I can't remember where or when.
Finishing off 1937 with I'd Rather Be Right, Rodgers and Hart began 1938 with I Married an Angel. Toward the end of that year, they opened yet another musical, The Boys from Syracuse, with the song, This Can't Be Love Because I Feel So Well, But I Love to Look in Your Eyes. My heart does not stand still, just hear it beat. This is too sweet to be loved. This can't be love because I feel so well, but I love to look in your eyes. Back to the Imperial Theatre. The year, 1939. The show, Too Many Girls. The song, She Could Shake the Maracas. The singer, Desi Arnaz.
Latin has a temper, Latins have no brains, and they quarrel as they walk in Latins' lovers' lane. So before you lose your temper, listen little señorita, and I tell to you the story of Pepito and Pepita. She could shake her maracas, he could play the guitar, but he lived in Havana, she down in Rio del Mar. And she shook her maracas in a Portuguese bar, while he strummed in Havana, the distance between them was far. But by and by, he got a job with a band in Harlem. She got a job with a band in Harlem. He said, I'm the attraction. She said, I am the star. But they finally married, and now see how happy they are. So shake your maracas and play your guitar.
And then it was 1940 and the stunning pal Joey. Beguiled again, a simpering, whimpering child again, bewitched, bothered and bewildered am I. Lost my heart, but what of it? He's cold, I agree. He's a laugh, but I love it. Although the laugh's on me, I'll sing to him each spring to him, and long for the day I can cling to him, bewitched, bothered and bewildered. Rodgers and Hart wrote one more show together, and 5 months after the opening, Larry Hart died. With more than 60 musicals and films to his credit, one could have understood if Richard Rodgers had decided to rest on his laurels. One might reasonably have thought that Richard Rodgers had given the world enough melodies and that the world might be content. But the very next year, with a new collaborator, Oscar Hammerstein II, a new phase began in this remarkable musician's career, and on March the 19th, 1943, a musical opened in New Haven that was to change the shape of the entire musical theater. Oklahoma was different, because for the first time, everything that happened on stage moved the story forward. The dances were full of real people, not chorus girls, and the songs told you something about their characters. For instance,
there's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
in 1945, Rodgers and Hammerstein gave us Carousel, which has now become an American classic. How hard it is to pick one song out of that bountiful, beautiful score.
So when he wants your kisses, you will give them to the lad, and anywhere he leads you, you will walk. And anytime he needs you, you'll go running there like mad. You're his girl, and he's your feather, and all the rest is talk.
1947 brought us Allegro, a musical which dealt seriously with society's growing materialism. It was the Broadway debut of Lisa Kirk.
A gentleman is a dope, a man of many faults, a clumsy Joe who wouldn't know a rumba from a waltz. The gentleman is a dope, and not my cup of tea. Why do I get in a dither? He doesn't belong to me. Somebody else's problem. She's welcome to the guy. She'll never understand him half as well as I. The gentleman is a dope. He isn't very smart. He's just a lug you'd like to hug and hold against your heart. The gentleman doesn't know how happy he could be. Look at me crying my eyes out as if he belonged to me.
Continuing to push out the boundaries of the musical theatre, Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote South Pacific, a plea for racial tolerance and an unusual love story. Will you ever forget?
I'm as corny as Kansas in August. I'm as normal as blueberry pie. No more a smart little girl with no heart. I have found me a wonderful guy. I am in the conventional dither with the conventional star in my eye. And you will note there's a lump in my throat when I speak of that wonderful guy. I'm as trite and as gay as a daisy in May, a cliche coming true. I I'm bromidic and bright as a moon, happy night, pouring light on the dew. I'm as corny as Kansas in August, high as the flag on the 4th of July. If you'll excuse an expression I use, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with a wonderful guy.
A musical play about the difference between Eastern and Western cultures, The King and I, had among many lovely songs the delightful Getting to Know You, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me. It's so hard to choose something from The Sound of Music. One of my favorites is
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
writing his own lyrics as well as music. Richard Rodgers scored several more firsts with no strings, and one of them was just that. No stringed instruments in the orchestra. And another was the fact that the orchestra itself was on stage with the performers, all making the sweetest sounds.
The most entrancing sight of all is yet for me to see, and the dearest love in all the world is waiting somewhere for me, is waiting somewhere for me.
With Stephen Sondheim's deft lyrics and Richard Rodgers' lovely songs, we found ourselves asking,
Do I hear a